believe we can afford to go back. So let's just keep on moving forward. Thank you so much. Now let's go out and win this.
That's always been a worry that the firearms community has had. They've always had to know that they're always one election away from being targeted by any future provincial or federal government. And I think that's why they're so concerned with this election.
The NDP Liberal coalition did not benefit Albertans. I know Albertans do not forget that. And the other thing I hear a lot is we just can't afford them. We can't afford Rachel Notley. We can't afford the NDP Liberal coalition. And quite frankly, I think they're right.
Adam Soos here for Rebel News, and I am on location as part of our AlbertaDecides.com coverage of the Alberta provincial election, covering the first of two events taking place in Alberta today. Not only first this morning here in Calgary, and then later on this afternoon and evening in Edmonton, where Danielle Smith is planning to address a crowd and officially kick off the 2023 election campaign for the United Conservative Party. Now, despite the name, the United Conservative Party has been, in the minds of many, far from united, with a narrow leadership vote pass ultimately resulting in Jason Kenney, who felt he didn't have enough of a mandate to continue, stepping down from the top job in the party. Since that time, Danielle Smith was elected leader of the party and has been acting as premier. Now, this election will be the first opportunity for Albertans to decide and to vote on whether they trust Danielle Smith and the UCP moving forward, or if they would like a repeat of 2015 and would like to see Rachel Notley and the NDP once again take the reins. With the event set to get rolling, we're going to head over, listen to what Premier Danielle Smith has to say, and then speak to some MLAs about what they believe they will have to do and what the key issues they will have to focus on in order to win this election and win in this critical battleground of Calgary.
Thank you all for being here, especially your dedication as volunteers. My friends, this election is a simple choice. On the one hand, we have our United Conservative Party, who are relentlessly focused on moving Alberta forward. We're going to continue creating the opportunities and the tomorrow for all Albertans with good-paying jobs, low taxes, and a strong economy.
I am now joined by MLA for Calgary, Acadia, and Minister of Justice Tyler Shandro. You've garnered, I imagine, quite a bit of support for particularly in the firearms community, the sort of stand you've taken standing up for Albertans' rights against Justin Trudeau. Now, what are the plans to continue those efforts and to take a stand if the UCP is elected to continue leadership?
Well, there's a lot of opportunities in the Alberta Firearms Act for future governments to be able to look at and be flexible, see what the Trudeau government is planning to do and how they unveil the confiscation program, and to be able to act quickly through regulation. So it's a matter of looking at what their next steps are. We heard that they may be, again, trying to unveil further details, in particular in the next month or two. So we had our second regulation that we have passed under the Alberta Firearms Act for the requirement for a seizure agent to get licensed. So that's a second step, and we'll just be nimble, continue to look at what they do and then react to it.
Now, is there sort of a very real concern that if the NDP is elected, they could come in, do away with all this, and we could see firearms being confiscated by the RCMP in fairly short order?
Absolutely. And I think that's always been a worry that the firearms community has had. They've always had to know that they're always one election away from being targeted by any future provincial or federal government. And I think that's why they're so concerned with this election.
Now, finally, in order for the UCP to win, there are a number of sort of contentious constituencies, but yours particularly and right across Calgary, they are very much the battlegrounds that will determine who wins this election. What do you think the key issues are that the UCP need to win on?
Jobs and the economy. And that's the number one thing people ask me about when I'm at the doors. People are still asking, thanking us for the last 4 years, focusing on jobs and the economy, bringing back jobs, bringing back investment, working with job creators. And then they say, look, we need you to be back in there for another 4 years to continue that work. So that's what I'm here at the doors.
So I'm now joined by Calgary Fish Creek MLA, soon to be retired.
2 more days.
2 more days, just a couple of days left. Very good to see you on stage there. Obviously a show of support. Can you tell us a little bit, after many years of service, about your sort of prognosis for the UCP moving forward?
Well, I think that Albertans are really becoming aware of the fact that our economy is strong. We're attracting people here. We're attracting investment. Those are incredibly positive signs after what we've been through with the recession, 4 years of NDP government, and of course the pandemic. So I think there's a real strong sense of positivity. There's some uncertainty, and there's, I think, a little bit of adjustment to the fact that this is a new, stronger Alberta. But as we can see, we're going to move Alberta forward with the existing policies, keeping money in people's pockets, attracting business, being what I would love to see, the most business-friendly jurisdiction in North America, and then we take it to the world. So I think that there's some great things that are going on here that everybody needs to reflect upon to say, you know what, how has this government done the last 4 years? What have we done to attract back those tens of billions of dollars of investment that were lost? What are we doing here to have net migration, the strongest positive net migration in Alberta's history in the last quarter of 2022? These are all incredibly positive signs. I hope people will reflect upon that, reflect upon the future of this great province and how we need to deal with our challenges with Ottawa, our challenges internationally, and our opportunities, more importantly, that will bring people, investment, jobs, and prosperity to this province.
And finally, you've been representing folks in Calgary for a long time. What, in your opinion, is for Calgarians, or what at least have you heard from your constituents, the key issue in deciding this election?
Well, you know, I always... There's a huge amount of support. It's Calgary Fish Creek, where we are today. It's my last 2 days as the MLA for this area. Is a great constituency. We have so much opportunity here. You know, I think people are trying to adjust. There's new leadership. Obviously, we went through a lot of changes over the last 4 years. And with a new leader in place here, we have a new dynamism. We have a new spirit of opportunity and opportunism that is moving forward, that is saying, you know what, we have a strong province. Let's work together. Let's balance this party. We have rural, we have urban, we have different perspectives. We have to work hard to have a Big Tent party, and I think we have to convince Albertans that we are the right party to do that we're able to do that, we're able to listen to all voices within this party, and then we can move forward as a strong team. Because that's what we have to do. We found out what happened when we divided Conservatives in this province. Let's stick together, let's work together, let's be collaborative, let's be cooperative, and let's make this province the best that it can possibly be in the coming 4 years.
Awesome. Thanks so much, really appreciate it. I'm now joined by MLA Mickey Amory of Calgary Cross, also the Minister for Children's Services. I guess first off, as we have an election now officially pretty much underway, it's very clear that Calgary will be sort of a key area that decides this election. What, whether in your ministerial position or just broadly, are you hearing are the principal concerns for Calgarians?
Well, Calgarians throughout the constituency, throughout my door knocking efforts, have voiced their concern about affordability, I think is a first and foremost priority. And I'm incredibly proud of some of the work that we've done in government to address some of those affordability measures. We're hearing issues about healthcare as well, and some of the misconceptions that are being spread by the NDP in relation to our dedication and commitment to healthcare in this province. And I'm very pleased with Budget 2023 because it underscores our dedication and commitment to healthcare in this province. We're spending more on healthcare than we ever have before, and we'll continue to make sure that we have a sustainable and strong healthcare system for years to come.
Now, on the sort of ministerial bureau of the Children's Affairs, Children's Services, are there any particular strides that perhaps under an NDP government weren't being made? I think for lots of people, children are their principal concern. It's one line that you simply cannot cross. So what perhaps are the things you're most focused on maintaining?
Well, we're incredibly proud of the recent announcement that we were able to make in relation to childcare in this province. And what we were able to do is negotiate an agreement with our federal counterparts to make sure that there is an affordable and sustainable daycare program in Alberta for many, many years to come. Now, the NDP tried to do something early on when they were in government. They tried a pilot program to bring daycare down to $25 a day. The problem with that is that we have over 100,000 children in daycare in this province, and that program only served about 7,500 of them, of which only 1,600 of them were from low-income families. It completely missed the mark. It completely wasted resources. It did not achieve anything that they hoped to achieve. Our program currently offers $22 a day on average daycare for this province. We're slated to reach $15 a day daycare in this province for this year and next year, and we're doing it for every child in this province, for all over 100,000 children, and we're certainly very proud of that. We know our program is far greater, has a far greater reach and a far greater impact for parents, all the while protecting and preserving the rights of both not-for-profit operators and private operators to flourish in this province. Under the NDP, they abandoned private operators. Those private operators consist of 60% of our daycare operators in this province. The NDP abandoned them. We will never do that.
So is this an instance where you actually see the government supporting independent businesses' growth rather than putting people out of business and just creating more government jobs?
We are most certainly dedicated and committed to that. Absolutely. We will never waver for our operators, and I want to make that absolutely clear that we will never waver in making sure that all of our operators, whether they be private or not-for-profit or however they choose to set up, are protected and flourish in this province.
We've welcomed billions of investment dollars in technology, film and television, hydrogen, agriculture, aviation, and tourism, and I could go on and on. We are once again seen as a land of opportunity for families and for job creators. Under the leadership of Danielle Smith, Alberta's economy is poised to lead the country in growth.
So I'm now joined by MLA for Calgary Shaw, Rebecca Schultz. You're also the Minister for Municipal Affairs. And it seems very clear looking at all the polling that Calgary will be the battleground. Likely that ultimately decides whether the NDP or the UCP leads this province moving forward. What, in your opinion, or at least what have you heard from your constituents, are some of the key issues that will help them decide?
Yeah, I think a lot of the key issues that both Calgarians and Albertans right across the province are focused on is, first and foremost, keeping our economy strong and growing so that people have opportunities to build their lives here, to build their careers here, to feed their families. That's what people have either grown up in Alberta and want to continue to see, or they came to Alberta for that, right? That hope, that excitement, that opportunity, and the promise that if you are willing to work hard, you can be who and whatever you want to be. And so economy is always a top of mind issue for Albertans, and we are seeing our economy growing. We're leading the nation. That is exciting, especially in average weekly earnings. And our economy is also more diverse than ever before. So I think that is a key issue. But of course, I mean, crime and safety, you heard it today, right? People cheering for those investments in our communities so that everyday Albertans can feel safe no matter where they live in our province. That's going to matter. Keeping life affordable, even while, Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh and the federal government, right, the NDP Liberal coalition, raising the cost of living through everything from their reckless spending, the tripling of the carbon tax. And so that will matter too.
Now, one of the hot municipal issues right now is obviously this new arena deal. I'm sure you've been asking a million questions about it, but how do you sort of strike a balance between fiscal prudence and buying a giant arena?
Yeah, and I was with Premier the other day, and she was asked this by a number of media saying, there's a difference from investing in the arena. That was a deal struck between the city and the proponents for that arena. Our investment of $330 million over 3 years is very targeted to capital infrastructure that will benefit the entire downtown core. And so not just the arena, but yes, also the arena. We're excited to see that deal. I'm hearing Calgarians and, quite honestly, Southern Albertans are excited to see that deal. But our investment is targeted. In this year's budget, over 3 years, we were investing $3 billion in capital, just over $3 billion in Edmonton, just under $3 billion in Calgary. And so this investment really does bring Calgary in line with Edmonton. I think it's very reasonable, and it will absolutely benefit our downtown.
One final question. I know you and your team are ready to go knock on some doors. Obviously, you've got a battle ahead of you against the NDP, but even if the UCP wins, let's say in strong fashion, you also have a rather progressive and perhaps not fiscally prudent federal government to deal with. What is your plan to stand up for municipalities against perhaps some of the overreach, some of the over expenditures, some of the troubling policies from Justin Trudeau's federal government?
Yeah, and the federal government's overreach, it does. It impacts our province, it impacts municipalities, and it is one of the things it is one of the top things that I hear when I knock on doors, quite frankly, in Calgary. Today you saw signs, thank you for protecting our energy industry and for fighting for those jobs, and for telling the story of our amazing industry here. And so, that will continue to be a focus for us. And I think people remember what it was like when Rachel Notley essentially just sold out Alberta to Justin Trudeau, and the NDP Liberal coalition did not benefit Albertans. I know Albertans do not forget that. And the other thing I hear a lot is we just can't afford them. We can't afford Rachel Notley. We can't afford the NDP Liberal coalition. And quite frankly, I think they're right.
Well, that is a wrap from this kickoff event for the 2023 Alberta election. Danielle Smith and a number of UCP MLAs were here. I had the opportunity to speak to many MLAs about what they believe are the critical issues that will determine who will win this election moving forward, and to determine whether it will be Rachel Notley and the Alberta New Democrats or Danielle Smith and the United Conservative Party who leads the province moving forward. As always, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Soos. If you would like more of our independent coverage, in-depth analysis, and exclusive interviews on the subject of the 2023 Alberta election, I'm encouraging you to check in regularly at albertadecides.com. Also, if you support this important work that we're doing, you can consider chipping in a few bucks while you're there.